Look, the realities of it is it's ridiculously hard. It's ridiculously hard to be a business owner. I think it's one of the hardest things that a human being can do until you've experienced life at 3 a.m. on the regular, where you've got stuff whirring around in your head and you're trying to figure out what to do next and how to get to the next level. I find myself quite regularly actually encouraging people to not do it. I fucked it up, right? I lost everything and it killed me. We will all reach a point where we start off doing everything and then we go, fucking hell, I've just clocked 70 hours a week and I can't continue to do it all. And at that point you've got a choice to make. Quit or get some help.
What's the one thing that you've done that you are most proud of?
Started Mastermind 9 with my wife. I think that we're going to change lots of people's lives.
So Pete, welcome to the 1 Million Conversations podcast.
Thank you for having me, mate. I'm excited to be part of this new journey that you're embarking on. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to speak with you because I think we've had some in-depth conversations in the past, and I guess we've known each other for a few years now, but certainly in the last 6 months, I reckon we've probably got to know each other a little bit better.
No.
For the people watching and listening at home, at work, wherever they are, can you just set the scene for them as to who you are and what you're doing in your life, in your work right now?
Yeah, cool. So I think it's probably 10 years that we've known each other, if I really think about it. And there's an interesting kind of backstory that is, it's kind of linked to the reason that we continue to talk, and that I used to work for a business coach, and I think that you were working with that business coach for a while back in the day.
I was.
So that's the backstory. 10 years ago, I was picking up the phone to you,
trying to sell me on
trying to
a
sell you
program.
Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So right now, where do we find myself? So I am at my home. I live in a little village in Oxfordshire called Blueberry, and I live with my wife Sarah, who's also my business partner, and my little boy Max, who's now 8. We live across the road from my mum, which is really, really useful. So we've got one of these kind of very cool 3-generational family things going on, which has got massive benefits. And I don't know how people, parents, and I don't know how people do it, to be honest with you, because it feels like we have no time as it is, and we're really lucky. Like I said, I work with my wife Sarah, and we are co-founders of a business called Mastermind 9. Mastermind 9 is 4 years old now, I suppose. We've got 55 clients and growing quite quickly, which is awesome. After 4 years of running through Treacle and having poo thrown at us, we're making some good headway at last. And essentially, what we do is we kind of build a board of directors for business owners that are at a place in their business where they can't justify the cost of a C-suite. If you're in a growing business, you're really good at what you do, but we all have gaps in our skill set. So essentially what we do is we try and fill those gaps by headhunting for different business owners to join our group. So we look for people with sales skills and marketing and finance and operations and HR, all of the stuff that you'd get in a kind of board of directors in a C-suite that you probably don't have access to in a meaningful way in a kind of small or growing business. Most business owners that I know kind of going it alone almost, and it's
Mm-hmm.
quite a lonely existence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly hard, even myself, as someone that studied entrepreneurship at uni and has built a business and then lost a business, and dealt with the ramifications of losing a business, and then working for a business coach and then being a business coach in my own right for the last 8 years. It's not easy. It's not easy for me, and I've read the books.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that haven't read the books, I think what we do is we provide a really safe, supportive environment at a very decent price point for people who want to grow.
Mm. And I love the tagline or the mission of Mastermind 9, which is grow so big that you need a bigger dream.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Talk to me about that. What does that mean to you?
I get goosebumps hearing you say so much you'll need a bigger dream, because that's exactly what we aim to set out to do with people. And I think the magic of what we are doing, and I think the reason that we're on this kind of really fast growth curve at the moment is people are really growing their business with our help. We're seeing it all over the place. In every group, there are people, lots of people, that are actually making more money than their friends that haven't joined a group. And I think for me, where it comes from really, so an interesting kind of segue to that is, it used to be surround yourself with people who refuse to let you fail,
Yeah.
which I personally absolutely love, because it resonates strongly with my backstory, right? My backstory is
Mm-hmm.
one of, I screwed it up, I failed, and it hurt me big. Surrounding yourself with people who refuse to let you fail actually was really a mission driven kind of slogan for me.
Mm.
It just didn't resonate with people. People
Mm.
didn't want to think about failure. Where the honest fact is, 4 in 5 of us will fail in our
Mm-hmm.
businesses. The failure rate in the UK is staggering. So people should be more aware of that, but it just didn't resonate. So we went back to the drawing board, and came up with grow so much you need a bigger dream. And I pinch myself when I hear people in our group saying, what specifically 2 months ago, one of our clients that's been on a journey like this, she's just taken on her first employee, a first full-time employee. She never would have dreamt that a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she turned up in the session and she was like, what would you dream if you dreamt a bigger dream? I never thought that I would get to this point where I had my own full-time person doing some of this technical
Mm-hmm.
work that I've been doing. And I kind of need to recalibrate and figure out what the next dream is.
Mm.
It was a dream to get to this point, but now I need to think
Mm-hmm.
bigger. So I think it really resonates. And as we were speaking earlier, one of the joys of doing the work that I do and the work that we do, myself and Sarah, is we've got like three of our um, previous team members that have gone off and started businesses, which is just frustrating in a way, if I'm honest, James.
Mm. But it shows that you're inspiring them to see something in themselves and to unlock whatever the dream is in them to go and do it.
Yeah. And they've got me for life, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be right by their side, cheering them on and supporting them in whatever way that I possibly can.
Mm.
Those people that have been with me on the journey to get to where we are, I'm forever grateful to those people, and they occupy a very special place in my heart. We're going to make sure that they grow so much they need a bigger dream.
Mm. I mean, it's almost more powerful when it's your own team member that's leaving, because when you're talking with other business owners and entrepreneurs, they've already started the business, whether it's just them in their spare bedroom or whether they've got a team of 10, 20, 100 people. But when it's someone from within your own team, they're leaving the comfort of a monthly salary, not having to worry about all the bullshit that isn't exciting about business. So you're encouraging them to take almost a much bigger leap than maybe you would say to me, being a business person already.
So the interesting thing is, there's been no real encouragement from me. Like, they've got there on their own, under their own steam, and look, the realities of it is it's ridiculously hard. It's ridiculously hard to be a business owner. I think it's one of the hardest things that a human being can do. I think until you've experienced life at 3 a.m. on the regular, where you've got stuff whirring around in your head and you're trying to figure out what to do next and how to get to the next level. And you've experienced the stresses of, having to kill to eat, and the all of the challenges that come at you, the hats that you have to wear. What? So, I find myself quite regularly actually encouraging people to not do it, because I think there's I have a moral obligation. I fucked it up, right? I lost everything, and it killed me. And I think that there's a fantastic book which I know you've read called The E-Myth Revisited, and in that book Michael Gerber talks about the entrepreneurial seizure, where one day you're working in the business, you're doing the technical work, and you look at your boss and you go, "You're so
yeah." Yeah,
I can do this better than you can. I'm just gonna do it for myself." And most businesses are started in that way, looking at the job that you're doing and then going, "I can do this better." But what most people fail to realize is the business of running a business is a full-time job. It's not just the technical work that you need to do. You need to do the marketing and the HR and, understand the law. And there's a lot more to it. He calls it the entrepreneurial seizure. And I kind of explain it a little bit like a honeymoon period. When you have that entrepreneurial seizure and you go, "I'm going to do it. I'm invincible. I can do this." And you invest a huge amount of time, effort, energy, money into kind of getting this thing off the ground, this baby that's come out of you. And you don't mind putting in that time because there's a I don't know, we do it for the freedom that we think that business ownership is going to give us. If I want to go to the dentist, I'm going to go to the dentist. I don't need to take holiday anymore. But there always comes a time where you go, it's not so fun anymore. It's the enthusiasm for working really hard and not making the money, it wanes over time, and then you're in it. And it becomes a much more difficult beast, and that's why many people get excited, and then go, "Do you know what? This is too fucking hard. It was easier when I worked for the wanker over there."
Yeah. Do you think that business owners should push to grow their teams? Because there's growing your business in terms of I'm making 100 grand now, and previously I was making 50 grand. But like you said, it's very hard to run a business. And when you wear every single hat and hats you didn't even know existed, that's really hard. And not saying that managing people is easy, because it's definitely not. But do you think someone's running a business or thinking about starting a business should have that goal to add people, whether they are full-time, whether they're freelance, whether that looks like, so that you can step away from having to run all these hats and pushing yourself towards that slightly more flexible life, which in reality you probably won't have if it's just you on your own doing everything?
Short answer is yes. I've I know thousands of business owners. Many of them are one-man bands. And I think if they were really honest, they would tell you that they take very few holidays. When
Yeah.
when they go on holiday, they take their laptop, but they've got client work that they've got to do. They work in the evenings. They work at the weekends.
Mhm.
They if a normal, what is it, 38-hour week for most people in this country, I I would say that your average, and I don't know the stat. I think it would be an
It'd be super interesting. And whether people are honest with that stat, with the metrics, yeah.
but I would suggest that the average business owner that's doing it properly, i.e., they're not being funded in the background by a partner that's got a decent salary and the mortgage
Mhm.
covered. For people that are doing it seriously and need to kill to eat, I would bet you that the average hours is 60.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And to that end, I think that when you're working 60 hours and you're not making as much as you used to earn when you did 38 hours, that's why most people fail.
Mhm.
And therefore, I will always encourage people to look to find leverage. Like for me, the game of business is fascinating, right? It's about
Mhm.
leverage. Um, Alex Hormozy calls it arbitrage, right?
Yeah.
Where's the arbitrage? Where can you get the leverage? And the 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 very obvious first step is to outsource the shit that you don't like doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make your job a little bit less unpleasant, because when you are the solo business owner, you've got it all to do.
Mhm.
Most people outsource the books first off.
Yeah. Bookkeeping was like, I fucking hate doing this. It's got to go.
Yeah. Um, but but you know, if you're all right with the books, but you're shit at sales and marketing, that's where you should start. But
Mhm.
for me, look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a lifestyle business, right? If you can make enough money by serving enough clients that are Raven fans and they give you referrals and you're just happy doing that. But the crucial thing is you must be making enough money,
Mhm.
live and do all of the things that you want. And I think the crucial thing is you must be able to take 6 weeks holiday, right? Because if
Mhm.
you're employment, you could take 6 weeks holiday. What's the point in doing it for the same money, but you don't get the holiday or the pension?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because you've got a little bit of freedom. Well, actually, you're working 60 hours a week to get freedom. It's fucking.
Mhm.
So for me, the simple answer and the long answer is the same. Yeah, you need to bring people in to the business to do the stuff that you don't like doing or that you're not good at, and you shouldn't be wearing that hat. And you should look to do it as quickly as you possibly can. So for me, obviously the books went first because I'm a nightmare. I'm dyscalculia, and I'm a nightmare with the numbers. And I've got ADHD, so everything's lastminute.com and a stress fest. But when you combine those facts, I was never really good at doing the tax stuff that's so important. And
Yeah.
that was the first thing to go. But also, you know, I was right. We committed early on to doing a newsletter, a
Mhm.
weekly newsletter at 6 a.m. on a Friday, which we've been doing now for, I guess, 4 years. Not missed one in 4 years, but fucking hell, it was a lot of work. It used to
Mhm.
take me 2 days to write the newsletter. Um,
That's
every
solid consistency though. One every week for 4 years.
yeah. Um, and you know, we've grown the list over time, and we curate the list over time.
Mhm.
We don't just send it to people who subscribed once and then don't open it. So the first thing for me to do after the books was get some help to kind of provide that consistency in the blog writing and the newsletter. Laura's been with us now for 3 years, coming up for 3 years, and she's an invaluable part of my team. And her team is growing, so she's now got a marketing assistant, and we're about to bring in a paid ads specialist to kind of really take our social media and ramp that up. And I just think having people in a business is an absolute blessing, as long as your culture is good.
Yeah. Yes. What do you think the switch has to be in your mind to go and get that first person, even if it's just an accountant, a virtual assistant, or a full-time? Because I guess there's a financial barrier, because right now you look at your business bank account and you kind of go, well, it's kind of an extension of me. The business's money is my money. What do you think that switch needs to be to go and do it, go and find someone in whatever form that takes? I feel like a lot of people will sit back and be afraid of, can I afford it? Can't I afford it? It's quite easy to get rid of a bookkeeper or a VA if you actually can't afford it. Bit more awkward and difficult to get rid of an actual employee that's on PAYE.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Well, I think there are lots of different ways to do it, right? They don't be an employee on PAYE. You can use contractors and all sorts of different things. And I think we will all reach a point where we start off doing everything, and then we go, fucking hell, I've just clocked 70 hours a week, and continue to do it all. And at that point, you've got a choice to make.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the switch. And I think also it really, that fear thing is real and shouldn't be underestimated. But I think it's part of the process. The best things happen on the other side of your comfort zone. And I would just always encourage people to seek out people that are further along in the journey, that can kind of hold your hand and, put their arm around you and go, you'll be all right. Follow my lead. I've done it. It's scary, but you'll get there. I think that's the thing. And I would always encourage people to do it before they're ready. Right? When's the best time to have a baby?
Yeah.
There's never a good time.
Never.
It's going to be hard. You're going to have sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Wait for the pay rise to come, but then there'll be other shit that you've got to deal with. There's never a time. You've just got to strike when the moment's right. And when you feel like you've done those 60, 70, 80, 100-hour weeks, and you go, you can't carry on like this, there's two options: quit or get some help.
Yeah.
And do you know, this week I've been brutal. I've told 2 people that I think they should quit.
That's good though, right? In a very strange way.
Look, have you watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger clip on YouTube that broke the internet, where he talks about no plan B?
I think I have.
He talks about, he's done he's done so well in his life, everything that he's done, right, from bodybuilding to acting to being a pretty decent, governor of California. Everything he's done really, really well to the best of his ability. So you can, I look to him as someone that's got his shit together, right? And in that YouTube clip, he talks about, don't have a plan B. You need to be all in on plan A. If you're going into anything in your life going, this might fail, you think it will, or you think it won't, you're probably right to quite afford, right?
Yeah.
So, you must fucking commit.
Yeah.
And several people I've spoken to this week are like, oh, I'm thinking about getting a side hustle job or whatever. They've been going at it and it's not easy. And it's not easy. As we've said, it's not easy to run a business. But, the moment you think, should I get another job, is the moment you just go, fuck it, I need to go and get another job.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need a job. I need to stop trying with this
Mm-hmm.
because I can't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and so this week I've told two people, just, it's not for everyone, this business ownership thing. Most people statistically fail. I would. And they're very different industries. But, if you're not all in, be all out.
Do you think that message, do you think it's important that that message came from you? Because I want to go back to your old kind of tagline about being surrounded by the right people. And I feel, and this is from personal experience, I feel that the closest people around me, my friends and family, and I think most people can relate to this, they're never going to want to discourage you. And sometimes you need to be around people who they know you, but they don't know you as well. And certainly the feeling I've always got from being part of Mastermind 9 is this is a safe space, but also I'm allowed to tell you the truth of what I think. And you're, in a weird way, you're not allowed to get upset by what I say. Like, talk to me about that when you have to make a hard decision. Is it important that it comes from someone outside of your tightest circle, do you think?
I think it's, I've got goosebumps hearing you say that. You probably can't. Literally, they're all over my body right now. I've got a lovely tingly feeling. Yeah, I think that I've earned the right over 8 years and my backstory to be able to be really honest with people, right? And I think I will only ever be honest.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me something business related, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you how I think it is. And what I think is so special about this company that we've created and the groups that we've created is it is that real honesty that you can't get and don't get from other people, right? I think, everyone's there and the remit is you listen to the challenge, you ask questions that come from your own lens. So, you hear what you've heard and then you go, okay, let me think about questions. And, the HR person's going to ask different questions to the marketeer and the finance person. You're all coming at it from a different way. There is an amazing book that I'm reading at the moment called Rebel Ideas.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
It is absolutely incredible. It talks about cognitive diversity. I'm going on a man.
Go for it.
It talks about cognitive diversity, and it talks about the opening kind of couple of chapters are all about the CIA and 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the premise is the CIA was full of the smartest people in America, right? They aced all of the exams, and they were brilliant minds.
Mm-hmm.
The problem came that when Osama bin Laden and there was all of this chatter coming, they underestimated him because he was sitting in a cave, and they underestimated him because no one in the CIA at the time spoke Arabic, and no one in the CIA was a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many different, viewpoints that they missed because they were usually white, almost exclusively white. They were almost exclusively 25 years old to 55 years old. They'd almost all came from the same universities. They'd almost all came from the same kind of upbringings to get them to the same university. So smart people. But if you think about the picture that you need to solve 9/11, you had brilliant people occupying, one corner of all of the information that you need to get. And what he talks about in Rebel Ideas is for you to get the right solutions to any problem, you need to bring people that have got the same lens. There needs to, it's no good having people that are completely random to the thing that you're trying to solve. So they're all looking at it through the same lens, but they've come from very different, diverse backgrounds. And I don't think I've read a lot of books. I don't think I've ever read a book that makes me so sure that we're on the right track with Mastermind. Because ultimately what we're doing is we're packing rooms of people with smart, intelligent people that are different from each other, that are coming at it from a different lens, from a different viewpoint, from a different experience. And as a result of that, you get different questions and brilliant solutions. And some of those solutions you might not like. It's why we get people to turn their camera off and turn their microphone off when we're giving feedback.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't like it, your body language will show that you don't like it, in the same way that if you do like it, your body language will show. So the way that Mastermind 9 works is everyone asks you questions, you turn your camera off, you turn your microphone off, and then we talk about you behind your back. Mean way, but we give you the truth from our perspective. James, in this situation, if I was the CEO of your business, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it. Sometimes we have tears. In fact, quite often we have tears.
We had some yesterday in our group.
But in every single spotlight, those tears translate to action, because you're told things that other people won't tell you. And that's so powerful. I've got a beautiful example of this. One of our most successful from a financial perspective clients, let's say he's in recruitment. He's not in recruitment, but I don't want to give anything away, right? Let's say he's in recruitment. 2 months ago, he came to us going, I'm doing okay, but I feel like I need to diversify. I really like beer. So I'm thinking I'm going to create a new beer. And he had all of the vim and vigor that you'd expect from someone who's been awake at 3 a.m. thinking about this new beer and the branding and blah, 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 blah. We've both been there, right? We've both had these brain farts which lead to us exploring something and really feeling like we're onto something. From the lens that we're looking at it, it's like, yeah, I solved that problem. Really the market research or kind of testing it out.
Yeah.
And he brought it to the group. He's like, I'm doing okay here, but how about this? What do you think? And literally in the kindest way possible, we were all like, that's a fucking stupid idea. Don't do that. Just stay in your lane and only deviate from that lane when it's working without you. When you've built the business to a point where legit you can stand back and watch it make money, go and play with beer. But until you're in that privileged position, stay in your lane and focus all of your energy and effort and enthusiasm and money and hard work in getting it to a point where it works without you. So I went off on a mad tangent. I don't even remember the question.
No, that was great. I mean, while we're talking about, I like to call it shiny object syndrome, because I definitely suffer from, shiny objects, lots of new ideas popping into my head. I want to talk about focus, but more so, if you're happy to go there, you mentioned you have ADHD, and neurodiversity in general is becoming a lot more at the forefront of conversations, not just in business in the workplace, but in life in general. Can you explain to me what your brain does on a daily basis? Like, how do you navigate all what you have to do, as well as all these ideas that I guess come in and out of your head? How do you manage that and focus on the thing? Because I think lots of people struggle with focus regardless of whether they have ADHD or something else. Like, talk to me about that.
So I've developed a literal shit ton of coping mechanisms to help me get through the day, from as simple as if I show you my phone. It's my phone, right? Most, when it's shiny and there's lots of things flashing and I've got notifications popping up, there's nothing on my phone, because I will go down a rabbit hole in a heartbeat. I have every single day at least 20 different alarms that go off on my phone to remind me I need to be doing something or being somewhere. So my assistant every evening goes through my diary for the next couple of days, and I get an alarm that's 10 minutes out and 2 minutes out, because trust me, 5 minutes out, I have been known to miss a meeting. Because it's like 5 minutes. It's like, no, I've got to be there. I think that I develop lots and lots and lots of systems, and I lean heavily into systems to help me avoid making the fuck ups that historically I made over and over and over again. So things like automation, wherever we can automate anything, we automate it, because relying on me to do something is often not a recipe for success. So that's examples of systems that we use. My calendar, for someone with ADHD, is impeccable, right? Because I've learned that everything needs to be in my calendar, and it's the single point of truth. If it's in my calendar, it will happen. If it's not, it won't.
Yeah.
And look, Branson said it best when he said, surround yourself with people who are better than you, right? And then train them so well they could work anywhere, and train them so well they wouldn't want to. And that's kind of been my, I guess, a bit of a secret weapon, actually, to be honest with you. I've taken his very wise words and gone, I'm going to build a company where people will lie down in the road for me, and I'm going to fill it with people who are much smarter than I am. And that's kind of what I look to do. The first person in took weight off me. Second and third people, they came in to do the operational stuff, and I'm just absolutely fucking terrible at. I am a visionary. With a million ideas. I'm an absolutely diabolical starter finisher. So
I feel like I'm like that.
So I surround myself with starter finishers. Everyone in business is a starter finisher, with the exception of me.
I'd love to ask you, Pete, because I feel like this doesn't get touched upon in many podcasts, which is working with your partner.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, obviously, you work with your wife, Sarah. You started a business together. What was that conversation when you decided to go into business together? Because obviously you were doing your business coaching thing. I can't quite remember what Sarah was doing, but I know she was doing her own thing. What was that conversation to go, hey, we can start a business together. We can work together every day in our cottage in Blueberry. And then what's it like working with your partner? Because I think lots of people would say, don't do it. But I have a family friend who I've known since I was 3, and they've run a very successful estate agencies, and they work together. And yes, they fall out and argue and whatever. But talk to me about your experience, because it's something that isn't talked about that much.
So this goes back to that whole, I'm working 70 hours a week and I need some help. Right? I was doing really well. Like, I was doing close to 100 grand a year as a business coach, working with a number of clients, helping them to grow. And I had some incredible successes in that time with clients that kind of 10x, more than 10x their business in the time that we were working together. But the real catalyst actually was one of those 10x'd from 120k to 1.6 million over the course of about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
We started working together and it was me and her. She fired me at 1.6 million with a team of 8. And I went, well, there's some irony in that situation.
Yeah.
You have helped this person build a business that it can't work without her, but you know, there was more chance of it working without her than a one-man band. And you've done that whilst you swapped your time for money. And Pete, you studied entrepreneurship at uni. You wrote your dissertation on the characteristics of entrepreneurs. You've read lots of books on how to grow a business. And swapping your time for money is a terrible strategy for, for growing a business. It's good to get going, but it's an absolutely terrible strategy for growing a business. So that was the actual catalyst. I lost a very good client who decided that she needed to be around people that had, helped people go from 1.6 million to 10 million, right? And, there's the old Marshall Goldsmith analogy. What got you here won't get you to the next place. So I'm still good friends with that person. I respect her extremely deeply, but it hurt, right? And in those moments, I'd read Think and Grow Rich very early on in my business coaching career, and I was managing a network, so I kind of knew how to bring people together. And in Think and Grow Rich, arguably the most important personal development book that was ever written for growth-focused business owners. It's a study of the most successful people on the planet over 20 years. Being a part of a mastermind group is there in chapter 10. There's a chapter devoted to surrounding yourself with people who are different from you. And when I looked at that and I started to kind of dive into mastermind groups in any meaningful way, what I realized was that mastermind groups at the time were kind of the playbook of people that had become successful already. They'd become successful and then they joined, Tony Robbins's 100k mastermind or Vistage, where they were paying 1,200 quid a month and there wasn't very much out there for my tribe. My tribe, the people who are, fucking slogging it out in the muck and bullets, the people, I failed when I had eight people on my team, right? There are people that really need this support. The people that are on that growth journey, not once they're there. So we set about starting Mastermind 9, and Sarah at the time, coincidentally, was working for a business coaching firm in an operational role. And we sat down and we did the whole kind of spreadsheet millionaire thing. And it's like, look, I need help. You're the yin to my yang in life. And actually, you've got an absolutely perfectly aligned skill set where I'm really good at this stuff and you're really good at this stuff. Let's do it together and start this new business. And so, yeah, that was 4 and a bit years ago now. And I love working with my wife. I'm not sure she'd say the same thing. But, as I said, you've got to surround yourself with people who are better than you in every single way. My wife is better than me, right? I love her with everything I've got. She's my best mate. And, I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. And, it wasn't until I read Traction, probably only 2 years ago, I read Traction by Gino Wickman, and he talks about the accountability chart in a business, and he talks about the concept of the visionary and the integrator. And it's like, well, I did it, and I didn't even know I was doing it. Like, visionary, responsible for the big relationships, the culture, creating 20 new ideas a day, that sort of kind of visionary role. And then the integrator, the person that's responsible for the P&L, the person that's responsible for the big projects, the person that's responsible for leadership, management, and accountability. Perfect for Sarah's skill set. And the visionary, that's kind of what I've been doing my entire life. So we hit on that by accident, I suppose. Or was it accident? I don't know. They say opposites attract, and I don't think that Sarah and I are complete opposites, but they're a definite
working opposites. Yeah,
we are absolutely working opposites. And how is it? Like I said, I think I probably do Sarah's head in about 500 times a day, but I think she loves working with me, and I love working with her, and we're lucky. And I think we're kind of working at this for a common goal. And we want this business to work without us, because Max is going to have probably a different education than many of his peers. Not by our desire necessarily, but just because of he's got a spicy dad, and he got spicy. So we're kind of working towards it working without us, so that we can give Max an alternative education. When you're guided by a really strong vision for what the future looks like, I think it makes the kind of petty arguments and annoyances all kind of pale into comparison.
I love that. You've alluded to it several times that you had a business in the past that failed. I want to take you back to, I think it was 2006, 2007, if LinkedIn is correct. Travelblag.com.
Yeah.
Give us the pitch, the 6-second pitch. What was Travelblag? What was the goal? What did you want to do with it at the time?
So the pitch now is it was TripAdvisor before TripAdvisor. I was, the longer story is I was working at TGI Fridays at Heathrow Airport to save money to go around the world, because I am so travel obsessed. It's not even funny. I love adventure. And I was a pretty good waiter. I was good at talking to people. I asked questions. I kind of got, the whole emotional intelligence thing I got nailed. And I used to ask people, I did it to make more money, if I'm being really honest. I realized that there was an absolute link between me being interested in them and them giving me more money. So I was at an airport, and I was like, I'm saving to go around the world, guys. If I was to come to your neck of the woods, what would you suggest that I did? And lo and behold, people would write down, like proper essays, and like, you should go here, you should go here, you should go here. And by the way, here's 20 quid for you to save because you're a nice guy. And it's like, fucking hell, I was making loads of money. But I realized in those weeks that I was working there before we set off on the trip, that word of mouth is the single most important, powerful marketing there is. And as we went off on our travels, you'd get to a new hostel, and you'd immediately make friends with people by going, "Where have you been? Tell me about it. That sounds amazing." And people would gush and tell you. And I got halfway around. I got to New Zealand, and well, in fact, I was in Fiji when I first kind of I'd come up with the idea for Travelblag when I was still working at Heathrow. There's a very early logo that one of the door hosts did for me. But, I kind of put it to bed as I went around the world. And then I got to New Zealand, and it was like, fuck, every step I take from here, I'm on my way home. I don't
Mm,
want to go home.
mm,
How can I not go home? I know. I'll start Travel Black.
yeah.
And, you know, I started talking about it, and I very quickly found people that were interested and ended up raising some money. And essentially what Travel Black was an online backpacker guidebook, that that members of the community rated and reviewed the stuff that they'd done in exchange for discounts off the stuff that they were going to do. So they could book through Travel Black and blah, 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 blah. Right. I had, raised money. I had 8 people working with me, and it was really fun. We had a lot of fun. Went all over New Zealand doing familiarization trips. I did skydiving. I did the bungee jumping. I think I did all of the AJ Hackett bungee jumps. We did the glacier walks. We did everything. It was brilliant. But that was a distraction from growing a business. At the same time, I was, rather than focusing on the website and the boring, monotonous stuff, I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had a backpacker pirate ship that took place to place to place? It's typical fucking ADHD, right? It's like, yeah, I'm going to write a business plan for Drift.
Yeah.
Drift
Yeah.
was a backpacking pirate ship which took you from island to island, and you slept in hammocks, and it was one big like party shag fest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had another idea called My Network. Look it up. LinkedIn didn't exist in 2005, 2006. So I wrote understanding the kind of Kevin Bacon law, the kind of 6 degrees of separation. I wrote a plan for mynetwork.com. And, look, ultimately, I wasn't focused.
Mm.
The long and short of it was I'd done a degree in business. I'd written my dissertation on the characteristics of entrepreneurs. I'd found some mentors who all thought that my idea was brilliant and diamonds and pearls and blah, blah, blah. And I signed a bad contract with a web developer. And at the same time, I was ill-equipped, even with all of that education, to be a manager of people. We fucked it up. I fucked it up. And, ultimately ended up leaving New Zealand in 2007 with all of the money gone, no website, and my tail between my legs. Because, I'd been telling people that I was going to be a millionaire from about the age of 10, I reckon. And it was traumatic. It sent me into 13-year depression, where I struggled with motivation. I struggled to keep jobs. I did a bunch of different jobs. I worked in Indonesia, I worked in Kenya, I worked in London, I went back to Southampton, did all sorts of things, and tried. I don't know if you've ever experienced antidepressants and depression, but you get to a point where you're feeling better, right? Oh, yeah, I'm feeling better. And you get to the end of your strip of tablets and you go, I'm feeling better. I don't need this shit anymore. And then you just stop taking them and stop taking them, and you feel all right. It's going well. And then all of a sudden you get punched in the face and you fall flat on your ass and you go in a deeper hole than the one that you were in before. And over that 13-year period, I think I probably tried to get off of the antidepressants 30 times. Because I never really wanted to be on them. It was something that I needed to keep me kind of, I the kind of the interesting end to that story is ultimately I started working for Rob. I left a toxic company. I quit a toxic company that I was working for with an absolute fucking asshole boss. I'm so values led and so relationship led, and I was working for an accountant who just was the polar opposite of me, making me
Mhm.
do things that were just so deeply incongruent with my value set that I quit when Max was 6 weeks old
Mm.
with nothing to do. And Rob picked me up. He was an ex-client of mine in the previous job, and he picked me up, and he kind of taught me personal development. I think it was ultimately personal development that helped me release myself from antidepressants. I think when you are forced to read personal development books because you've got to practice what you preach.
Mhm.
And Rob was really big on that. He used to, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Think and Grow Rich and the Miracle Morning and, the E-Myth,
Mhm.
that was all part of my kind of curriculum for the job, but also actually it helped put the scaffolding in place to lift me up out
Mm.
out of.
Mm.
And when I started to make the right decisions and do the right things, all of a sudden I found my mood went like that.
Mhm.
I was able to release myself from the antidepressants, and I've not touch wood. I get down, but I've not been on the antidepressants now in, where are we? It's 2018.
Mm.
So, it doesn't mean to say that things don't get tough and I don't get down about things, but
Mm.
I'm free of it. And a really interesting thing happened when I released myself from the antidepressants, in that there was this entrepreneur that existed in me once upon a time that gave me all of these wild ideas and, belief and all of that stuff. And, my self-belief and self-worth was on the fucking floor
Mhm.
at the time. And, when I released myself from the antidepressants, something really interesting happened. Those antidepressants kind of
Yeah.
even you out, right? They take away the lows, but they also kind of take away the highs, and they kind of
Yeah,
do it
definitely.
in the middle. And my entrepreneur came back, and I started to think very differently than the way that I'd been thinking for the last years.
Mm.
And, I always knew I was destined to do something for myself,
Mhm.
always. But, I didn't have the faith or the confidence or belief in myself.
Mm.
And I started looking at the concept of a franchise. And, if you know Action Coach, you'll know that you've got this billionaire at the top called Brad Sugars.
Mhm.
You've got people that buy very expensive franchises, and they basically buy these franchises to kind of get the toolkit to be able to teach people to build businesses that were without them.
Mm.
And I got the toolkit because you can't unlearn the stuff that you learn.
Mhm.
Um, but I just went, I'm not going to buy a business. I'm going to start one.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it the hard way. And uh, uh, you know, I think people now really respect the journey that I've been on, because,
Mhm.
5 weeks in, I left Action Coach. I left Action Coach, and to start my own kind of coaching business.
Mm.
And 5 weeks in, I'm sat on the sofa with Sarah and Max in my arms, and I'm bawling my fucking eyes out
Mhm.
because it's really hard. I'm talking to people, but no one's buying from me, and blah 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 blah. So I think I need to give up. 5 weeks I'd given it.
Mhm.
I think I need to give up. And Sarah, basically being the rock that she is, she was like, I've never met anyone that is better placed to do what you're doing.
Mm.
You need to go out there, you need to put on a smile, and you need to make it fucking happen.
Mhm.
So stand up. And she used to make me do this fucking stupid, like, happy dance, she called it. Like, whenever I was down, like really down, and she'd stand up and she'd make me do this like stupid dance, but it always worked. And it, you know, that movement created momentum.
Mm.
I did the stupid, silly dance, happy dance. And then I went out to a meeting. And that day, I swear to God, I signed my first client.
Because something switched in your head.
I
Do you feel?
think it was like, you know, this is what you want.
Mm.
And if you want it, you've got to ask.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
asked, and I got. And then
Mm-hmm.
over the next 3 weeks, I think I picked up 5 or 6 clients. You know, I went from sitting on the sofa being absolutely mortally depressed about what I'd done,
Mm.
sad about, you know, not being good enough, to
Mm.
having a decent bank of clients that were paying me a decent chunk of money.
Mm.
And yeah. So again, I've gone down another rabbit hole, and I don't even remember.
No, that's good. Did you feel, as when you signed your first client, did you feel as passionate as like we all see you now about helping small businesses, or was it more black and white as I want to be a business owner, I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to just make this sale happen? Because I've gone on a very similar journey to you. I had a company that I worked on for 8 years, and then COVID kicked our asses and I had to close it down, and I had to let all my staff go, let my clients down. One of my mates worked for me who's no longer my mate. And that's a whole thing. And like for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been battling depression, anxiety, and I've been on medication, and I've spent thousands on therapy that may or may not have helped. It's only now where I suddenly have clicked with a purpose and a reason for my business beyond I need to pay money. I've never been focused on money. And I spent I probably talked to you about loads of random ideas I had in my head. I was thinking about, can I do this startup? Can I create this app? Can I have a course? I was thinking about money because I was like, there's always that pressure to earn money. But now all of a sudden I felt like I've connected with a purpose and a belief that I'm really passionate about. Like, and do you think it's passion that really can pull you out of something hard?
Yeah. In a word, yes. I was as passionate on that day. It was a lady called Loz Hawkins, wonderful human being. A company called Marvelous Hair Company based in Goring. And she was my first client, and I was passionate about helping her put the right systems and processes and procedures and, you know, marketing and all of that stuff in place to help her to take her business to the next level. And I was absolutely as passionate about it then as I am now. And the reason is I had a business that failed. Cost me 13 years. And I wanted to help her avoid making the mistakes that I made. And that's basically what drives me. You know, there's something really interesting about depression, right? When I came up the other side out of depression, you know, before Travel Blag, I would tell anyone that would listen that I was going to be a millionaire.
Me too.
You know, I'm going to have a business or businesses, multiple businesses, and I'm going to be a millionaire. I could not give a flying fuck about being a millionaire anymore. Because what I understand to be true is that money does not make you happy. And happiness in life is way more valuable than money in the bank. So what I do now and why I do it, I'm fortunate that I'm able to make money from it. Bootstrapping, James. You know, I don't make lots of money for myself. I choose to invest the vast majority of the money that we earn back into building the systems, building the processes, and building the best possible team that I can, so that one day it will work without me.
Mm.
And when it works without me, that's pure freedom, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is pure happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I can decide today that I'm going to take Max to the beach or to
Mm-hmm.
football, or we can hop on a plane and go to Prague or to India, and we can go and experience different culture
Mm-hmm.
in a life experience that is, and a life education that, in my opinion, is way more important than a books education. And, you know, I read a lot of books, right? You can get an education in lots of different ways. He's not a traditional, you know, probably won't do GCSEs, I wouldn't imagine, although I don't really want to prophesize
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen. But for me, that kind of world education, experiencing different cultures, different tastes, different sights, different smells, that's the richest tapestry that you have. And that will be the success of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give me true happiness. And that is why, you know, entrepreneurs, you know, I was listening to Daniel Priestley and Stephen Bartlett recently, and Stephen Bartlett was asking Daniel Priestley about, you know, what are the kind of defining characteristics of entrepreneurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he went, without question, it is the ability to suck up a disproportionate amount of pain
Mm-hmm.
and suffering
Yeah. Yeah.
and delay gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I know that to be true because I wrote my dissertation on the characteristics of entrepreneurs, and that dissertation, despite my challenges, finished second top of 10,000 people. I hyper focused on it because I was deeply passionate and interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Know that to be true. And you know, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with my lot. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with my wife. I'm happy with my son for all of the challenges we have. I'm happy with the fact that I live next to my mum and I get to experience a really deep relationship there. I'm happy with the successes that are happening all over our mastermind groups. That gives me the most deep sense of satisfaction. I was in a group on Friday, the first Friday squad. It was me and 9 other people, obviously Mastermind 9, me and 9 other people, 10 of us, and 5 of us had just had the best month ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking, I've got goosebumps again. That is nuts.
Yeah.
You can't go to a networking event and speak to 3 people without someone complaining how hard it is at the moment.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I know.
Well, you just can't.
Yeah.
For that group of people, 5 of them just had the best month ever. In the board meetings that, you know, obviously we do board meetings every 3 months. In the board meetings, in the last set of board meetings, there were 3 people that had had the best quarter ever, top of the best quarter ever,
Mm-hmm.
top of the best quarter ever.
Mm-hmm.
9 months of continuous best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's happening all over our groups.
Yeah.
People are creating a plan, and you know, it's not a kind of detailed, like, you know, 300-page business plan. It's like 4 goals,
Yeah. Yeah.
simple to-do list, but it gives
Mm-hmm.
focus. So they're spending time in the plan. They're coming together to get real support for the challenges that they've got, and they're leveraging that cognitive diversity that we've talked about to, you know, to help them solve challenges that potentially they couldn't have solved on their own. So they're benefiting from other people's advice and wisdom and guidance, and actually speeding up as a result of that. And then they've got the accountability stuff, where every week for 20 minutes they're holding each other accountable for doing the shit that they said they wanted to do. And then when you look at where you want to get to, and then you look again, and you look again, and you look again, and you look again, all of a sudden your thoughts affect your feelings affect your actions determine your outcome, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it gives me goosebumps, because I know that our clients are doing something special. And you know, they are not going to become a statistic. They're not going to become the 80%. They're going to become the 20% that go on. And that makes me fucking joyous, mate.
What do you say to someone who is struggling with the motivation at the moment? Motivation's faded a little bit. They're still passionate about whatever it is that they're doing or trying to work towards, but they're maybe business is a little bit difficult. Maybe they're struggling with something else. What do you say to them to just keep going and push through it? Because like everything that you've shared with me today, and I know you have your own business challenges like we always do. Whenever I see you, you're full of energy and full of smiles and optimism. So what do you say when the motivation fades for a bit?
Fake it till you make it, bro. Like, fake it till you make it. What I know is, when I turn up as a miserable shit, that stuff happens. When I'm, you know, if I go to the depression stuff, right? The lessons that I learned from being deeply demotivated, unhappy with my lot. It's actually really simple to beat depression. Like, stupidly simple. One of the hardest things that you can do, but really simple.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it requires discipline and consistency. You know, that is the secret formula: discipline and consistency. When you put stuff off because you're demotivated and you're, you know, not happy with your lot, and you think the world's against you, and you go, you put it off. You say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. What you do is you tell your brain that you're the sort of person that puts things off. And what do we think about people who put things off? Well, they're wasters, they're losers, you know. Whereas when you commit to making a change and then you do it with discipline and consistency, all of a sudden you're wiring your brain to go, I'm someone who gets shit done.
Yeah.
And it really is as simple as that. To help you go from one way to another way is committing to doing something different and then doing it. And, you know, I read a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, right?
Yeah.
That was my game changer book. I read that at a point in life where I was down, demotivated, unhappy. And what I learned from that book is that success leaves clues. And there are things that you can do to make yourself a little bit more successful. But and they're actually really simple things to do, but they're hard because it requires discipline and consistency. So whenever, we're going a little bit life coachy here now, right? But whenever I encounter someone who is feeling like it's just fucking hard, I tell them to discipline themselves.
Yeah.
I say, get up earlier, set your alarm clock an hour before you would normally get out of bed, because when you're in that state of mind, you're probably getting out of bed late. Or you're then rushing to do all of the things. You might not have a proper breakfast. You're rushing to do things. You turn up and you're a state. And, you know, that has a very detrimental effect on your mental health. We've just been talking about you. Come say hi. We're on a podcast.
Hi, Sarah.
Sarah's brought me
Hi.
tea. This is live.
Oh, hi.
We've been talking about working together,
Oh,
amongst other things.
okay, cool.
What's your take on working as a couple?
Okay. I have no idea what Pete's already said, so I might just walk straight into something here. But if I'm honest, I think over the years, it's actually helped us communicate better. I think in the early days, we had to have very clear delineation over who was responsible for what, so that we didn't tread on each other's toes or, argue about things or anything like that. It was very clear that that was your bag, this was mine thing. But I think over the years that's become less important, and it has just encouraged us to be much more open, much more honest about how we're feeling, what's going through our heads, and for the other person to actually actively listen. I think we're much better at that nowadays.
Yeah.
Have I echoed what you said? Did I pass?
No, but you've said it in a different way.
In different ways.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
Thanks, Sarah.
Cool. All right. I'll go back to work, shall I?
We're almost. Thanks, Sarah.
So that whole discipline and consistency thing, get up earlier, move your body, like exercise will release all sorts of great chemicals in your brain. Start reading or listening to stuff that's going to give you ideas. I think that's really, really important. Practice affirmations and visualizations. Like, if I boil it down, and the book goes into a few like, talks about journaling as well and stuff like that. But for me, affirmations, visualization, exercise, getting up early, and doing it consistently. They are my rituals when everything else goes. When it goes to shit, I'm grateful for my depression, weirdly, because it's a spiral. It's never a down, right? You spiral down.
Yeah, big time.
And you can spot the signs. Once you've been there and you've experienced it, you can spot the signs. And I'm very grateful to be able to spot the signs. And whenever I spot enough signs, I go, discipline.
Yeah.
Fucking get out of bed early, go for a run, read something good, tell yourself that you're amazing, that you've got a brilliant company, that you're worthy, that you're a brilliant husband, and all of the rest of it. You've got to tell yourself that over and over and over again, and then have a cold shower. Just those things done consistently over a period of time always take me back up to the place where I need to be at my best. But I'm human, mate, and I fall off the wagon. I am perfectly imperfect, as most of us are.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah.
Well, that feels like a really great place to end it. And I always like at the end of these episodes, I have 6 quickfire questions that I like to ask every guest. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for sharing everything you shared and talking so openly with me, because my kind of aim with this podcast is that I can capture as many different perspectives and insights from as many different people about as many different topics as possible, and allow other people to take what they want to take from those conversations. So really grateful for everything that you've shared.
Can I say that I've done a bunch of podcasts now, actually. This is by far and away my favorite one.
Thank you.
You are a brilliant interviewer. You ask great questions. We've gone all over the place, and you've, as I would expect, you've pulled me back. Masterful, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Pete, 6 quickfire questions. They don't need to be one word or one sentence answers, but as quick as you can. Question number 1. What has been the most insightful conversation you've had recently, and why?
Speaking to a guy called David Samuel, who's one of my early mentors in Outside Ideas and latterly Mastermind 9. And we were talking about the concept of getting as many no's as you possibly can, because the more no's that you get, the more yeses you'll get.
Mm.
There is a relationship between the amount of no's you get and the amount of yeses. And he was talking to me about the importance of getting the most, the highest value no that you can possibly get. It's like, if you want to do business coaching, try and get a no from the king. Try and coach the king. Try and get to the king to get a no. When you get a no from the king, maybe you'll get a yes from someone that's down. Right? When you realize that we're all just people, go for the best that you can go for, aim really high, and you might find that you get a yes from someone that's 10 times the people that you've been going for.
I love that.
That to me was absolute gold. And it's working for him, right? He's working with all sorts of cricket boards and stuff now because he went, I'm going to work for the FA. The FA said no, but then someone put him onto cricket. He had a conversation with a cricket board club, and they said yes. And now all of a sudden it's like bang, 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 bang. New opportunity is open for him because he went for a high value yes.
I love that. Question 2. What's one subject that you wish you knew more about?
Global warming. So we're fortunate to have a remote team, and we've got a number of very special people in the Philippines. The Philippines, you possibly don't know, but they are being absolutely fucking ravaged at the moment by tornadoes. They're typhoons. They had a typhoon that came through about 10 days ago now and killed 200 people. Millions of people, killed 200 people, like catastrophic. And then this weekend, they had a super typhoon come through. You know, so in 10 days, they had 2 life-changing natural disasters take place in 10 days of each other. Millions of people displaced. And, you know, these guys are so resilient. You know, Justin lost his roof, sent me pictures of people in his village that waist deep in water, wading through, trying to save themselves. And I think that global warming it's scary, man. And I think we are blessed to live on this beautiful, calm, moderate, green island where we don't have any volcanoes. Like Elaine, it's mad. Elaine, I was taking a very keen interest in like the path of the tornado because they were terrified, right? And I figured out where Elaine lives, and I Google mapped it, and I kind of zoomed in and looked around, and you know, it is what it is. And I then notice about 2 miles away from where she lives, a giant fucking volcano with you know, a clear crater, and then around the outside a lake. This thing has blown up in the past in a big way, a lake like that, and it's 2 miles from where she lives. That's global warming related, but you know,
I think it's all interconnected though, isn't it, in some way?
Yeah.
Question 3, and I'm excited to hear your answer on this one because I know you've traveled a lot. What is one place that you visited that you'll never forget?
Flamenco Beach on an island called Culebra in Puerto Rico. I was a beach bum. So I had long, curly, blonde hair, bleach blonde hair to about here, wore flip-flops the whole time, juggled on the beaches. And I went looking for paradise, man. I went to the Caribbean, I went to the Pacific Islands, and Flamenco Beach on the island of Culebra was the most perfect beach I ever experienced. It had flour fine white sand. So like it finest sand I've ever experienced. I love snorkeling and scuba diving, and it was we camped. It wasn't exotic with high rise hotels and stuff like that. We camped, and you swam off the beach about, I don't know, 30 meters, maybe 40 meters, and you dive down and you are surrounded by beautiful, pristine reef with sea snakes and all sort and turtles and beautiful fish, pristine reef. And then you come back up onto the beach and you walk down the beach, and it's kind of a horseshoe kind of crescent shape. And at the end, you've got a green and yellow tank, because back in the day, the Americans used to use this particular island as target practice for dropping bombs and stuff like this. So there's just a random tank on the end of the peninsula of this beach, and I'll never forget that place. It was stunning. And I'm going to be naughty and say the island next to it is a place called Vieques, and we went to that island as well. And on the island of Vieques, you've got a lagoon which has got the world's third highest concentration of bioluminescence. So if you've ever seen a beach where they're swimming in the sea, and it's, mate, we were swimming and it was like we were surrounded by an ocean of stars. Like you're paddling through the water and it's blue, and then you swim and it's just stunning, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'll never forget that for as long.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's one for the viewers to explore and book their tickets. Okay, question 4: who would be one person that you haven't met yet, but they're alive, that you would love to have a conversation with, and
Richard
why?
Branson, because he's a legend. He's my inspiration. Dyslexic thinker, game changer, icon, brilliant at PR, really values based at his core, good human being, I believe. I'm yet to learn otherwise of him. Richard Branson.
I love it.
I'm connected to Holly, so I'm one away.
Almost there.
Almost there.
And you've done stuff with Virgin Startups, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, I'm in their community, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Last 2. When did you feel most vulnerable?
When? In my life?
In your life. Anything that's happened.
On the plane back from New Zealand.
Yeah, I feel that.
Sarah and I have had some kind of challenges before Max. I felt pretty vulnerable going on that journey as well. I think, New Zealand, the latter stages of New Zealand, and then I came back from New Zealand. I probably won't go into it in detail, but I ended up having to move in to my dad's house, and I didn't have a very good relationship with my stepmother, and that was not at all good for my mental health. So,
sure.
But, that whole period of life, I'll happily forget.
Final question.
Okay.
What's the one thing that you've done that you are most proud of?
Started Mastermind 9 with my wife.
Nice. I love that.
I think that we're going to change lots of people's lives. I believe it in my heart that what we're doing is a real force for good. And, I think we're doing it for the right reasons. And I think that, that's what I'm.
And I think we all feel that, being a member of NAS 99. I think we feel that in the groups. Doesn't matter whether it's you or Sarah or one of the M9 team in the group. I think we kind of feel that in all of the meetings and stuff that we get involved in.
Thank you, Noel.
Well, thanks, Pete. This has been great. Thanks for joining me.
I've never done a 1.5 hour podcast. I wasn't expecting that.